Hello and welcome to Christmas at the Rust, Sweat and ADO unit. Today we're going to take a quick garage tour of all the vehicles that are up here at the moment. There's also a surprise towards the end of the video if you want to stick around that long. So first off, we're going to start with my trusty steed, which is my 2000 plate Ford Mondeo Estate. It says GL on the back, but it's actually an LX. It's a 1.8 turbo diesel, and if you go back in the channel, you'll see that we restored this as part of the very first project we ever did. It's racking up the miles quite nicely, and it's actually taking over from my Golf GT a little bit. It's a little bit grubby inside because it does get used as a van, but we've done about 3,000 or 4,000 miles in this now, and it seems to do really well on the fuel, and also performance isn't too bad either. So we'll just go inside. And I apologise for the poor quality in the Christmas just because the budget this year was literally zero. So the second car that we come on to is my Dona ST200 Estate. There's only about 16 of these left in the country, and I was very fortunate to get this for an absolute bargain price. It's probably the cheapest ST200 in the country. The plan is to do a quick walk around video next. And we'll also look underneath and see how bad it is before we decide on the fate of the vehicle. But I kind of bought it because I wanted the Recaro seats, which are inside, and also with it being the estate, it'll go straight into my Mondeo, and I can use the ST200 dashboard and the gear knob and all of those kind of things. I also think I'll put the body kit onto mine, and then eventually we'll paint mine in Imperial Blue. Imperial Blue just happens to be one of my most favourite colours for any Mondeo, but that's just me, I'm biased. Second car we'll come on to is my 1962/63 MG 1100. I've had this car for a couple of years now, and I've not really done much to it. We've collected some parts and bits and pieces, as you can see, sat on the bonnet, but it's remained largely untouched. It doesn't need a great deal of welding, but I'm not sure I'm ever going to get around to doing this car. So my mum approached me a couple of months ago and she asked me to build her a car for the road. Well, I haven't got time to do it, and also we tried that before and it didn't work. So my intention is to pass this off to one of my friends. So Ed from Little Garage Classics is actually going to restore this for my mum, and then she's going to have this as her show car. I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to be able to film, but what I will be able to do is to show the outcome, because I'm sure it's going to look magnificent. So above the MG is all of my spares. There's loads of doors, bonnets, boot lids and new panels for Austin 1100s up there. There's also a pile of bumpers, so if anybody needs any bumpers, do let me know. I've probably got about 50 of them, and there's also some at home and some in my dad's loft. The car that's next to my MG is my 1967, so it's one of the, getting towards the last of the Mark 1 1100 estates. It's actually in Austin, in what I believe is Alpaco Beige. This car is actually structurally fairly sound, but it did come to me in kit form, so there's no running gear attached to the car, and everything's inside, all the glass and everything. It needs some work around the boot lid because someone bent the tailgate, and also it needs archer sills, a bit of welding to the floor and a complete front end. Bought this probably 6 months ago now, and my intention is to put a 1.8 K-Series engine along with painting it green and an MG front end, and if you look up there, the MG front end's just poking up there, which is going to be fitted to this car. So it is going to become a bit of an MG estate with van rear windows, and then we'll use that to as part of the channel to move things around. Above the 1100 estate is my one of 3 that I own Magenta kit cars. This is the parts car that I bought. I bought it mainly for the wheels because it had Dunlop D1 wheels and a set of 5, which is actually quite nice. But this is just hanging around until I finish my latest red car, and then it'll either get sold or scrapped. I'm not doing any more Magentas after this one, although they're dead easy. I think one Magenta's enough. Next to it is the extension that we built, and that was purely to house some seats and things. I recently got rid of a set of Mondeo Estate seats. So there's going to be another set going up that's coming out of my silver Mondeo if we put the black leathers up there. Next to the 1100 Estate is my, I'll just pull this off, just uncover it a bit, is my MG 1300 two-door. It's a 1969 car, I think, on a H plate, which makes it one of the very first Mark IIIs, I believe. Should be white with a blue interior, but obviously somebody started to repair it and started to paint it red. Inside they welded the roll bar plates and roll cage plates because it was going to be a race car, which is the plan that I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue down the route of doing a race car, a particular car. I've always wanted to build a race car and I just never have. So that's the intention. As you can see, it's had new wings fitted, there's a new bonnet, there's also 2 new doors and a boot lid. I think the boot lid's inside. And a new front panel was fitted by the previous owner. So it's probably one of the most rust-free 1100s in the country. I've had a lot of people wanting to buy it. Well, obviously it's not for sale, it's definitely not going anywhere. Not for a very long time, not until I finish it at least. The interior will be navy blue and the paintwork will be black. White. Quite the opposite of black, but anyway. There's nothing in the tent at the moment, so that's why the door's closed, just to keep some of the draft down. The next car we come on to is a channel favourite, which is my 1971 Austin 1100 two-door. It's a poverty spec car, so there's pretty much nothing to it. I've started doing the wheel arches. These are actually cut off the MG 1300 where the front end is up there. Most of the welding's now done around the bodywork, so the intention is to get it painted before we do the rest. I've also started to fit an MG ZR interior, which actually fits surprisingly well, so that'll be fun to get that to fit fully. It's got a classic mini MPI dashboard as well, and there's an MPI engine and box to go in this car at the end. It's going to be a surprise what colour we paint it, but it will stay a bright, vibrant colour because I've always enjoyed 1100s in non-standard colours. This is actually Yamaha purple that we painted about 10 years ago. Above that is another channel favourite. It's my Robin Reliant three-wheeler, which we bought just only a couple of months ago as part of a pair. So Tom, who's another contributor on this channel, has got the blue one and I've got the white one, which is ultimately in worse condition, but I did pay a little bit less for mine. It's going to need a bit of work to get back on the road, but I don't think that's going to be too long. Here, tucked away in the corner, is the engine and box out of my estate and the spare subframes and things that we've been painting ready to start to go on the various project cars. Engine room's still a mess, so we've got 1.34 KA engine, we've got 1.6 K series engine, the 1.8 turbo diesel out of my red Mondeo, and then various different 1300 MPI, SPI engine and boxes. There's an 1100 there, and there's also an 1100 down there, I believe. And then there's a 1300 automatic engine tucked away there, which is a spare for my Vanden at home. Got plenty of parts on the shelves still, so lots of glass, lots of Mondeo parts. These are mainly parts for my MG. And then we've got more parts over here, so bottom shelf is parts for my Mini Clubman, or our Mini Clubman I should say, because me and Daniel are part owners in that. Middle shelf is for the purple car, and then just petrol tank storage for where we ran out of space. The next car to mention is it's actually a 1978, but it's tax exempt because the base car was a 1971. It's in Ford Radiant Red, and it's the same red that I bought for my Mondeo Estate when we started doing that project, but we abandoned that and decided to go with the silver one. We painted it on this channel a couple of months ago, and it's just sheeted over to keep the dust and grime and everything off it. In a couple of weeks' time, you'll see me paint the rest of the bodywork, and then we'll start the rebuild of this one. It shouldn't take too long to put together. There's very much to them. Very much not much to them. Oh, just knocking wheel nuts on the floor. There we go. Probably need those to put the Reliant wheels back on at some point. Probably shouldn't have put them up there, but anyway. Next to that is my brother's 1971 MG 1300. This is in midnight blue, which is actually a rare colour, and I was told there wasn't any of this colour left. Well, here you go. I welded a new front end onto this probably about 3 years ago now, and we actually painted under the bonnet. Not sure if I can get under the bonnet, but we'll give it a go. So there you go. It's all painted under the bonnet and just incredibly dusty. This is a new front panel, and that's a new wing that we fitted. I also did the sills and the some welding to the rear wheel arches, I believe, at some point in the past. But relatively speaking, this is a Rust 3 1100 again. This was off the road since 1986, which is here. So there you go. So all the stuff inside the car to finish it. It's yeah, it's a bit of a mess, but it's got a nice headlining. I've just got a little bit of welding to finish on this back corner here, where the window sits, and across the bulkhead here. Sorry, across the windscreen. There's a little bit there where it started to rust through, but not too much to finish. And then we're going to paint this. I wouldn't say we'll paint this next on the channel, but we'll certainly paint this in the coming months, along with the shed and a few others. Next to that is the 1986 Mini Park Lane. This is going to feature on the channel in January because we're actually going to bare metal it, repaint it the original Park Lane colour, because this is metallic grey that it's painted at the moment. It's going to have quite a bit of welding done by a friend of mine, so we won't see that work. It's actually going to be shipped out, and then it'll be coming back to my channel to be painted, which is my forte. Welding isn't, but I can do welding, of course. Next to that is our 1979 Mini Clubman Estate. This is going to be it's going to be Tundra Green when it's finished, which is a very unusual colour for the Clubman Estate, but looks beautiful. It was originally poo brown, but we're not a fan of that, so we're going to swap that out. But yeah, that's it really. That shell's Rust 3. It's had a new front end welded on at some point. We rolled it over last year and painted it, but that's as far as we got. So anyway, that's the garage update for up here at the unit. I'm now going to head to another location and show you some of the cars that you would never have seen before. So catch you in a little while. Right, so now on to the next part. As you can see, I'm no longer standing in my unit or anywhere near my unit. I'm now actually at home. So as part of my Christmas update, I thought I'd give you a rare glimpse of some of the cars that are stored at my house. Try not to disclose my location too much, but I guess there's enough people that do actually know where I live, so it doesn't really matter too much. But I did say to my wife that I wouldn't film too much at home, but I wanted to do a special update over Christmas of the cars that you've not seen, and maybe we'll never see again, who knows. So first is my 1983 MG Metro Mark 1. This is a one owner car from new. It's done about 50,000 miles, and for some strange reason the previous owner started breaking it, and I have no idea why, because it's pretty damn rust free. I bought this about 18 months ago, simply because you don't see them anymore, and this seemed to be the best example that I could see at the time. My intention was to get it running and driving and then look to potentially sell it on, but what I might actually do is use it now, because they're getting incredibly rare. I spent a lot of time in my youth stealing engines out of these for my minis, various different things, so it's quite nice to see one that hasn't had the engine stolen. So if we just look behind the Christmas tree, is my first one of two 1997 MGF convertibles. They look a little bit stripped because I took the front bumper off, because I actually sold the headlights out of this. My intention is to make one car out of a pair, so I've been selling the bits that I don't need to fund it really. This one's got a really nice leather interior, which I understand is quite rare. and is actually in really nice condition. The problem with this one is there's quite a bag scratch here and a rust there, and also the head gaskets failed, as most of them did. So just stepping over the bumper out of the way, and we'll come on to the second of my MGF convertibles. So this is again a 1997 MGF convertible. These are VVC wheels, but it isn't a VVC car. This is how I got it, with just one seat. As you can see, it leaks quite heavily, so water in it, and also the carpet's soaking. If you look here, look, ew. This is going to be the spares car for the green one. Basically all I want out of it is the engine and box. This car actually came with a trophy front splitter, which I will repaint that bumper to go on the green one, which is why the bumper's off. It's also got a trophy rear spoiler, which I'll paint up and put on. I'll use the back bumper and also the exhaust system, because it's got quite a nice sounding exhaust. This car does run, but I haven't got a battery here, unfortunately. Tucked away in the corner, rather unloved, is my 1966 Wolseley 1100 Mark 1. I bought this car purely because I wanted somewhere to store my things. So inside here is various different parts to all of the cars that I've owned over the years. The boots are stored as well as everything else. The main thing that I want out of this car is the engine and gearbox. For those of you who don't know, these come with a bonnet stuck down. For those of you who don't know, the Wolseley and the MG 1100s came with a coupe, basically a Cooper spec engine. There's a 295 head and twin carburetors on 1100 engine. So the plan is to put that into my red MGF, not MGF, my red Magenta. And then finally we've got Kermit, my little Mini, and the Golf there as well, looking quite clean. So yeah, that's it really. That's what I've got stored at home. I think there's 7 here at the moment. Yep. There's a couple of cars that you haven't seen for a while. There's the white MG Magenta. That was the factory car, and that car's actually at my brother's house, hiding away while we did Vangie, his camper van. And my 1968 Vanden 1300, because that's in my parents' garage, because I ran out of storage space. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed having a bit of a look at the cars that are waiting to get restored or parted out, or who knows what might happen to them. And I will catch you soon. Goodbye.